There are working dogs. You watch a show on nature. I love nature shows. Science Channel, they showed 6,000 feet below the sea creatures that I never knew existed. Every one of the creatures below the sea has adapted over the eons to some form of capacity to hunt for its food, to hide from the predators that want to eat it. Every single creature in the ocean is either prey or predator to one species or another of another kind of sea organism. And the point of the story is that every animal on Earth works to both protect itself and find its own food, except man. Man may be the only animal on Earth that relies upon others to feed it and gives others nothing in return. And that's why we are resentful of a government that seems to be more concerned about the freeloaders than about those of us who provide the income for the freeloaders. You think this is all hot air and rhetoric. You are mistaken, my friend. Do you know that over 60% of Americans receive more benefits than they pay in taxes? That means 40% of us support 60% more of us. That means that it's an insupportable structure. Did you hear what I just said? Why on earth should we support able-bodied people? Why should we educate and provide medical care for illegal aliens and their children? Why should prisoners be given such glorious treatment in prisons where it costs $50, $60, or more $1,000 a year to give them everything under the sun? Special religious meals and books. I didn't say turn it into a devil's island, but I would say something is wrong with a country that is so led by the liberal left that we are bled until there's nothing left in us to give. And I learned from nature. I'm still working at my age. I could have retired a couple of years ago. There were times I couldn't have, but there are times that I could. Why do I keep working? At this point, it's in my blood. It's in my blood. That's all there is to it. I was raised to work. I was thinking about this the other night to tell you this on the radio. What do you mean I was raised to work? Someone beat me with a hose? No. What do you mean I was raised to work? I'll tell you exactly how, in case you want to know how to raise your children. I thought about it the other day. As I get older, I start thinking back on my childhood a lot. My mother and father, if they were to talk about someone in the neighborhood, in the building, and we grew up in the Bronx, they would say, oh, he's a hard worker. They would say it with almost a whisper, looking up to him. Didn't matter what he did. They said, Joe is a painter, but he's a hard-working man. In other words, they said it with respect, the way they said it. So I learned that they respected people who worked hard. That was an important thing in my development, I realized, looking back. In other words, they weren't doing it for me. They didn't say, oh, let's show young Michael how to grow up and who to become. They respected people who worked hard. And they had no respect. They had just contempt for leeches. I don't think they knew any. There was not a person in the building who didn't work hard. Everybody worked. Everybody raised a family. The children were clean. They were all well-fed. They were all poor, but nobody knew they were poor. The apartments were clean. And long after we left the neighborhood, another generation moved in from a different country of origin, and they were a little different. They they were on welfare, and they burnt their mattresses and threw them out of the window into the streets if they didn't get fed. You know, sort of like you'd see at a zoo on a Monday. And you wonder why there's anger in this country? How did this happen? How did a whole nation of hardworking people get taken over by a nation of leeches? And a government that caters to the leeches, not the people who give them the money to give to the leeches. How does this happen? It's unnatural. It's insane. So you want to know what the Tea Party movement is about? You want to know what conservative talk radio has been about? You want to know what my best-selling books have been about? You want to know what the town hall meetings have been about? You want to know why the politicians and the reporters look like deer, in the so-called searchlight? Because they saw real people really angry with real knowledge of what the hell is going on. They know that they've been had and they don't want it anymore. They're not going to take it. There is a revolution brewing in the country. And right now it's a peaceful revolution. But I can warn you, if the people are not heard, there will be a talk show host, not a revolutionary. Make no mistake about it.
Savage.